It's time for the lightning round.
Chip is wound up tonight, folks. Look out. Donovan McNabb. That's right. McNabb did not know the rules. Divorce court, a lonely place these days, and lost in space. Look who's back. It's Jack Gordon from the firm Manning & Gordon. Good to see you.
All right, Mark. Thanks for having me. Paul, Chip, guys.
Good.
Always a pleasure to be with you. Things are good, man.
Yeah,
Things are very
always
good.
so busy. Yeah.
I am, but it's best to spend time with you.
Well, we appreciate that. How about this past weekend, Chip story? Eagles QB Donovan McNabb, he's getting creamed right now, particularly in Philly, for not knowing the rules. If an overtime session expires in the NFL, the game would end in a tie. Now, it's been that way for years. I give him credit for saying, you know what, maybe we would have played differently had I known it would end in a tie. But they're roasting him. You think it's justified or not?
I think you have to roast him. You're the quarterback. You're the leader of the team. You ought to know the rules. But I don't think it makes a difference. I think they ought to lambaste the head coach. But how is it going to change the nature of the outcome? How is it going to change the game? He's not calling the plays. He just has to execute them. I can understand if the offensive coordinator doesn't know that that's the rule. But with Donovan...
Yeah, and I think with him, it's a love-hate relationship in Philadelphia, because obviously he's a very talented quarterback, but it seems like he can never get over the hump, going back to the Super Bowl of '04 when he was getting sick on the field, if you remember that. I think he's obviously a quality QB, but never quite at the level of a Tom Brady.
Yeah, maybe he's just misdirected. Really should be at Andy Reid.
Oh, definitely at Andy Reid. I mean, not only just because of the overtime gaffe, but because it went to overtime against a team like the Cincinnati Bengals. You've got to be kidding me. That's what they should be focused on.
The quarterback should have known.
Whether you can win or not in overtime, or think there's another overtime behind the
first one. And Cincinnati did everything to give that game away, and they still couldn't win the game.
We need a whole other show to talk about why it shouldn't end in overtime.
Right.
Of course. But they need to do what the NCAA does. That seems to work well. How about divorce, they say, has been on the decline. It's been on decline for years. Trends show divorce is slowing because of a bad economy. And that was this latest report. I looked at that. I said, this can't be true. I handed it to Jack. Said, yeah, I don't think so. It doesn't seem like it would be true.
This is absolutely not true. There's a saying, when money is tight, people fight. And whether it's business partners or whether it's your marriage partner. We've seen complex litigation zip way up, and the dockets are packed right now, at least in Hillsborough County, so I'm not buying it.
I would imagine the stress alone that's been putting on many relationships as well. I
think the question is can people afford to separate? I mean, are people staying together because they say if we separate, there's not enough money for both of us, let's just hang in there and try to make it work somehow?
Well, I don't think they're trying to make the marriage. I think you're right. They're not trying to make the marriages work. I think they might go through the whole divorce process, but I think in one of the articles we looked at is that the couple was still living together in the house,
because
but
they
were
just can't
still
afford to separate.
Because two live cheaper than one. When I say two rents, when you can share one.
So
how about this Lost in Space story? NASA astronauts last night doing a spacewalk. They accidentally lost a tool bag. Now, thankfully, it was tethered. It had some caulk in it and a couple of wrenches and things. But thankfully there was a backup. They did have a backup.
Come on. There's no excuse for Donovan not knowing. There's no excuse for an engineer, an astronaut, to lose a tool in space. But if you read the articles, that's not the most disturbing thing. If you take the Space Shuttle Endeavour was delivering equipment up to the International Space Station. Did you see what they were delivering? A machine that converts urine into water.
You've had that story.
And a refrigerator.
Yeah.
That's scarier than losing tools.
I don't want to be the first person to drink that.
Right.
That's for sure.
The whole Anheuser-Busch slogan, drinkability. I'm not seeing it, man.
Takes you to a new level. Jack Gordon is with Manning Gordon. Thanks so much. We appreciate you.
Always, guys. Appreciate it.